Now our first story. Many in Ghana and around the globe continue to come to the terms with the sad and shocking death of Komla Duma announced on Saturday. The BBC TV presenter is said to have died from a cardiac arrest at his home in London. Although his family is still awaiting the official cause of death from the medical examiner, he is survived by his wife and 3 children.
Hello everyone, welcome to Focus on Africa from BBC World News. I'm Komla Duma.
Komla Duma was born on 3rd October 1972 in Accra, Ghana. He graduated with a BA in Sociology and Psychology from the University of Ghana and a Master's in Public Administration from Harvard University.
I started out as a medical student, actually studied medicine here in Nigeria, didn't complete it, decided to start again in Ghana, where I'm actually from.
He won the Ghana Journalist of the Year award in 2003 and joined the BBC 4 years later. From then until 2009, he hosted Network Africa for BBC World Service Radio before joining the World Today program.
We started with Mobitel Traffic Watch.
Kudos to Anne Saki, who gave me that job. She was then at Mobitel and thought that I would sound good on the radio.
Doing
radio traffic news.
Remember what things used to say?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I must point out that unfortunately I don't think Traffic Watch would work now because the traffic in Accra is simply horrible and horrendous. But back in the day, you'd tell people that there's heavy traffic approaching Tetekwashi if you go through Legon, and now wherever you go, you're going to be there's heavy traffic. So things are different, but things are the same. Yeah.
In 2009, Komla Duma became the first host of the Africa Business Report on BBC World News.
Getting the news right requires a lot of research, attention to detail, the ability to pick out those points that are relevant and then weave that into a compelling story. That's the craft of news.
He traveled across Africa, meeting the continent's top entrepreneurs and reporting on the latest business trends around the continent. He interviewed a number of high-profile guests, including Bill Gates, Kofi Annan, and former U.S. President Bill Clinton. Last month, he covered the funeral of former South African President Nelson Mandela, who he described as one of the greatest figures of modern history.
Did he ever give you advice?
He gave us advice through stories. He was an amazing storyteller.
He always taught me to always be humble.
He anchored live coverage of major events, including the 2010 World Cup in South Africa.
If I can hand this over.
The funeral of Kim Jong-il, the Norway shootings, and the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton. In his review of 2013 published last month, Duma said the passing of Mandela was one of the moments that will stay with him. Duma was the only West African newsreader on the BBC World News until his death.
Komla Duma from Peter and the Heat, the rest of the team.
He achieved his feat in journalism without any formal journalism training. He was known not just as a man from Africa.
Look, I'm incredibly proud to be a Ghanaian. My grandfather composed Ghana's national anthem.
But a man for Africa.
Arise, O compatriot.
His unique voice catapulted him to the top of his game, and he became indeed a boss player.
And if there's a cool factor, I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it?
May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Thank you.
Well, the Ghana Journalists Association has described as paralleled the achievement of the late Komla Duma of the BBC. In a statement signed by the association's president, Afel Moni, the GGA said the Ace broadcaster displayed an impeccable sense of independence and incredible commitment to objectivity. The statement continued, the media community was shocked by the untimely death of Duma and extended the association's condolences to the family of the late broadcaster. GGA President Roland Afel-Moni, through the statement, proposed that Komla Duma be accorded a state funeral and awarded a posthumously prestigious national honor deserving of a professional hero. Meanwhile, the GGA and the family of Komla Duma will open a book of condolence at the Ghana International Press Center from today, 10 a.m., to enable journalists and the general public pay their last respect to him.
Members of the media have also been paying their respect to the man who became an icon for the potential of Ghanaian and African journalism.
Our strength, thy grace, our rule, thy word.
I think he's one of the reasons most of us journalists have taken it upon ourselves to do it the hard way, to sacrifice and put in a lot more work to get things done. But it's sad that, you know, at only 41, the Lord has called him to glory. We just hope that he's resting peacefully. One meeting I had with him, even though it was brief, was at last year's school's reunion. It was very brief, about 2 minutes. But the hi, hello, how you doing? Great job you're doing, keep it up, has been with me ever since.
There was a story that broke about some strange story about, you know, people coming, strange people attacking students in the evening, snatching their mobile phones and stabbing them in the process. And we started covering the story gradually, and it was it became a big thing. So I remember, like, in the evening, I didn't have a mobile phone then, but my roommates had a mobile phone. So I gave his mobile phone number to Joy FM at the time. Stanley was producing the morning show. So they would call me with Komla sometime around 1 in the morning, and we'll sit down, we'll prep and discuss the areas and how to come on there and do all of that. That we've not physically met. So I think throughout the coverage of the story, I remember coming to Accra on my way out of the country. And then so I passed by Joy FM. And then when I came, he was coming down the stairs and I was going out. And so we bumped into him. I ran into him, like I walked into him right out. And he said, hello? So someone was like, Anil Sabute. So he said, and Komla was like, are you Anil Sabute? So he grabbed me on the side like that and he raised me up into the sky, you know, and he brought me down and we had a long chat. We talked about work and all that. The last time I saw him actually was last year during a school's reunion. He had come back from London. And, you know, it was cool, he was calm, he was collected as always. And to think that I come on radio on Saturday to do Weekend City show, get people to laugh, and then later in the afternoon you get the news that, you know, somebody of his stature is no more. It was very devastating, and I could not just believe it. And I've been playing back the whole time, you know, in my mind. I've been playing back an interview I had with him during the launch of the BBC Focus on Africa program when Metro got that particular deal at La Palme, and it's heartbreaking. Yeah.
Say he always got it right when people were so pressed and think that this thing cannot be done, and you know, when you always want to rush into studio, you are tensed up. But Komla would, and I remember after the makeup, I saw him walk into the studio. I was with him on Focus on Africa, and this gentleman was so relaxed. And even when he had a little slip, he comes back so normal. And you ask, what is the secret? And it's like, well, it's about taking life easy, and it's all, don't stretch yourself too much. And for me, very, very, very down-to-earth person. I remember when he was also here the latter part of last year, we were doing the Club 100 together, and it was so fun working with him. And for me, the last words when we exited from the State House, we actually met somewhere again in Accra that dawn, and it was like, see you soon, George.
Well, a big tree has fallen, but what I say, a smaller tree. A local journalist, a Ghanaian journalist, has also died. Samuel Hesse, 35, died Saturday evening around 10 in an asthma attack, and he drove himself to a clinic where he later died. Samuel Hesse got married just a month ago. Samuel was a reporter with Metro TV and had worked with the station for about 8 years. He also reported on the Hobart Basic School, which was in a deplorable state, and with the help of 2 philanthropists, the school was rehabilitated. Well, his death came just a few hours after the demise of ace BBC broadcaster Komla Dumont. Same day.
The children using empty rusty things as their learning material. As a rural reporter, I sense some need in there. After doing the story, people will promise you will come and do something about it. You will hear from them again. But Francis Baini, after promising or giving out his word, followed up. He has been calling me to get in touch with me, to be updating me about whatever is happening. So I'm not really surprised because since I met him, really, it's God. Let me give glory to God. He's a good man. God richly bless him. You know, I have been doing stories, as I said. People promise structures, but not up to this standard. Not up to this standard. And I'm overwhelmed. I'm very, very happy.
Moving to other stories, President John Dramani Mahama will be joining a select number of world and business leaders this week at the 2014 World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. This year's gathering is under the theme, The Reshaping of the World, Consequences for Society, Politics and Business. President Mahama is scheduled to chair a key section and also participate in various discussions on sub-themes including climate change, the post-2015 development goals, the future of the health and healthcare, the pressing youth unemployment challenge, and economic prospects in major emerging economies. The president will also take the opportunity to hold a number of bilateral meetings with the world leaders and business executives on the margins of the Davos gathering, which opens on Wednesday. Accompanying President Mahama will be the Minister of Finance, Zek Tepe, and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Ambassador Thomas Kwesi Kwate. Before arriving in Davos, President Mahama will participate in high-level Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week program, a large gathering focusing on tackling pressing issues such as renewable energy, water, and the environment.
Well, and as the president is aware, or will be aware, members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana will begin a sit-down strike from today, the Monday, January 20, 2014, to demand better wages. The sit-down strike is to demand better conditions of service.
The principal of the St. John Bosco College Education, Navrongo, Alfred Indango, who was speaking at the 7th matriculation of the school, emphasized the importance of teachers to the education sector of Ghana. He expressed worry teachers have been neglected for far too long. He said members of the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana will begin a sit-down strike on Monday, January 20th, 2014, to demand better wages.
It is a national strike. It is not a strike for St. John Bosco staff. It's a national strike.
Mr. Ndango said the strike will have a long-term effect on the country's education and called on stakeholders to dialogue with the tutors on their demand. St. John Bosco College of Education admitted 476 students for the academic year. They include 51 students for the Technical and Vocational Department, 168 for the Mathematics and Science Department, and 257 for General Art. The school hopes to improve infrastructure to admit more students.
A 1.5 million cedis health facility is to be constructed at the Osabeni in the eastern region. The project will be providing world-class healthcare services for the people in the area.
A 25-acre land has been secured for the 24-apartment building project. The project, when completed, will provide world-class health delivery services to the people of the region. The Catholic Diocese of Koforidua decided to establish the project because hospitals in the region can no longer accommodate the growing population of the citizenry. The Catholic Bishop of Koforidua Diocese, Most Reverend Joseph Efrifa Ajikum, said, as society develops, there is always the need to provide care and support for families and to address end-of-life issues that confront them. He disclosed the project will be in phases and will be completed within the shortest possible time.
It is for this reason that the Catholic Diocese of Koforidua decided, in her little but concrete way, to address this important aspect of our healthcare services with a project about to commence today. In fact, I need not emphasize it, but I need also to mention that it is present and urgent.
The second lady, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, urged women to support the project.
We women stand to gain a lot, and I will pray and ask that we, the women, not see it as we are being relegated to the background. Therefore, the little that maybe the family will give us is now going to the hospice. You know how, in a certain way, something has come to relieve you, but you look at it in another way and you resent it. I just pray that we will not resent it as families, but we will see it as a comfort, as taking part of our problems, and therefore embrace it.
In other news, new regional offices for the National Communication Authority and the National Health Insurance Authority were jointly inaugurated in the Northern Regional Capital, Tamale. Government says this is to regulate the relationship between consumers and service providers and also ensure harmony. Giftiando Apia reports from the Northern Regional Capital.
For his sector, Communications Minister Dr. Omane Boama said increases in mobile subscription rates has necessitated the expansion of internet accessibility, especially in the north.
All too often, we have complaints of poor quality of service and all that. It is our hope that the presence of this edifice in the northern region will provide the opportunity for you to channel your complaints in real time to the office. Government is embarking on an extensive rural fiber optic project in ensuring that all the way from Ho to Boko, with a link from Tamale to Yendi, adequate and portable rural optic fiber is provided so that you will be able to have access to uninterrupted and quality internet services.
On her part, Health Minister Sherry Aite encouraged women to take advantage of the free antenatal care under the health insurance scheme. She announced the inclusion of other ailments under the scheme.
We have, assigned onto the National Health Insurance Scheme free maternal services. Once you are pregnant, please contact the nearest hospital for both free antenatal and postnatal services. Please kindly visit all the National Health Insurance offices and register also for free family planning services. We have also rolled out mental health onto the National Health Insurance Scheme. So please let your families, your brothers and sisters with mental problems attend hospitals, because this time, government, we are going to take care of their health bills. And also pensioners are also exempted.
Summing it all up, President John Mahama emphasized that MMDCEs are a major target for the ICT infrastructural expansion to further deepen decentralization.
Intention is to connect every district, every municipal assembly in this country to internet services and broadband services. I'm happy to note that Tamale is going to be the converging point for the optic fiber system of the National Communications Backbone Company of Vodafone. This will provide nearly 3,000 kilometers of terrestrial fiber from Accra through Sunyani to Wa, through Kumasi to Sunyani to Wa, to Mu, Paga, Boko, and then down through Tamale again to Kintampo, Techiman, and back to Kumasi. It is our expectation that over 200 towns and communities along this national axis will be connected to the backbone. Our National Health Insurance Scheme is fraught with a lot of challenges. One of such challenges is the level of fraud. I know you've done a lot of work using clinical audits and other audits to be able to reduce the level of fraud, but I believe that we can bring this down further. We have introduced a capitation grant in order to improve the sustainability of the scheme, and I wish to crave the indulgence of medical practitioners to bear with the Health Insurance Authority as they roll out this capitation program across the country.
The northern region is the 9th to have an office for the NHIA. Officials said the final office will be added, and all 10 offices are expected to cater for 12 million subscribers nationwide. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Tamale.
The death toll in the Kwehu Fodwa gas explosion has risen to 8. 2 more victims died at the Komfanoshi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi yesterday. That brings the number of deaths from the gas explosion in the farming community to 8.
The 2 newly deceased were among the 13 people who sustained various degrees of injury from a gas explosion and were referred to the burns unit of Komfanoshi Teaching Hospital last Wednesday. The deceased have been identified as Bashiru Muhammad, 3 years old, Ishmael Muhammad, 6 years old, Abdul Aziz Muhammad, 16, and Jamal Muhammad, 4 years old. All were siblings. Others were named as 6-month-old Yusuf Zakaria, whose body was burnt beyond recognition, Ramatu Hassan, Shahada Zakaria, and Salu Zakari. Their bodies have been deposited at the Komfanoshi Teaching Hospital and Holy Family Hospital in Nkoko. 6 others are on admission at the Holy Family Hospital, including a 25-year-old student, Hayford Ajay, who is at All Nations University College in Koforidua. 7 others were also reported to be receiving attention at the burns unit of Kath. The victims were among 28 people who suffered burns resulting from a gas explosion that sparked fireballs and a plume of black smoke and forced people out of their homes at Kwehu Fodwa.
Well, so that's it for the news for the morning. In the meantime, a recap of our top stories. Thousands of tributes continue to pour in for departed BBC broadcaster Komla Dumo, who became an icon for the potential of Ghanaian and African journalism abroad. And
President John Dramani Mahama will be joining a select number of world and business leaders this week at the 2014 World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. And this year gathering is under the theme, The Reshaping of the World, Consequences for Society, Politics and Business.
Well, as he departs there, though, members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana will from today begin a strike action to demand better conditions of service. Well, these are the stories we have for you for now. Next, we bring you some sports. It's brought to you by Tigo Cash.
And Cowbell.